welcome back to another edition of the Vulcan Nation podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Barnhart. We're continuing this series and this special feature with our 2020 Alumni Award recipients. And with me today is the 2020 recipient for the John R. Gregg Award for Loyalty and Service. This award recognizes a faculty, staff member, or an alumnus or alumna who has contributed long periods of service to the university or the Alumni Association in one or many capacities. Our recipient this year, I think, embodies that the most. She's a 1978 graduate of California University, Pennsylvania, and a longtime staple in the athletics department. Please welcome Miss Carolyn Tardd. Miss Tardd, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So we like to get right down to business here, and not that you need any introduction, but we like to allow our guests to introduce themselves, our audience, kind of talk about who they are, kind of who they were at Cal U as a student, as a staff member, and then kind of where you are today.
Okay. My name's Carolyn Tardd. Originally from Detroit, Michigan. I went to Northwestern High School, and I had a little stint at Wayne State University. And after that, I joined the military, and from the military, I came here to Pennsylvania. And while I was in Pennsylvania, my husband decided I needed to go to college. So here I came to California University of PA. But back then, it was California State College. And it was a scary time. First time being in Pennsylvania, first time being in a place I've never been before, but that's how I got to Cal U.
Awesome. And from there, it's kind of like history's written itself, basically. I know you recently retired, but you don't stay away. I know, well, at least before COVID, you know, I still see you at like football games, taking tickets and stuff like that. So, but if you don't know about Miss Tardd, I mean, you know, you're kind of, I know that's how I met you way back when. And I know that's how you've influenced and really served the university in capacity. So, you know, if for folks that maybe don't know you, and I don't think there are any, you know, well, kind of let us know what you did at Cal U during your time there after being a student.
When I first started, well, first of all, I majored in administration and management because I wanted to go into accounting, but way back then, they didn't have an accounting program. Accounting was encompassed under the heading of administration and finance. And there were only 4 professors in the major, and that was Joe DeLisi, can't remember his first name, but his last name was Kopko, and Dr. Zeffro and Dr. Blozel. Dr. Blozel had just gotten out of college when he started teaching. And the other one was Dr. Tardd. Those 4 men had a very, very, very profound impact on my life, because not only was I their student, but they treated me like I was their child, and they guided me through everything. And the other person who had a profound effect on my life at Cal U was Art Bakewell. Because I was a veteran, he kept me close to him. In fact, he was one of the main reasons I got hired at Cal.
Oh, through because he ran like the veterans office, right?
Yeah,
and everything to ROTC and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And
cool.
He always wanted me to start working at Cal. He would say, apply for this job, apply for that job. So finally, my husband said, no, finish school. But Art Bakewell, he kept coming after me. And finally he says, I need you to apply for this job. So the job was to be the secretary in the education media department. And so I went for the interview and I got the job. But the moment I got the job, the state put a freeze on hiring.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to sit back for a while. And then Art Bakewell came again. He says, there's another job I want you to apply for. And it was working in the revenue office, which is now called the bursar's office.
Okay.
That was
like right aligned with your major and everything, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, you know, but the thing is, you know how in your head you like administration, management, I wanted accounting. So that was more accounting. But I worked there for 12 years. Well, I worked there for 10 years and then I became the supervisor. And then 2 years later, I moved over to athletics, where I spent the remainder of my life at Cal U.
Absolutely. And I think that's, I never knew. I mean, I like learned something the other day. I never knew you were in the Bursar's office before that.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been,
We're
yeah.
Ryan.
Oh, wow. See, I like, I guess we all kind of think like Miss Tardd didn't have a life until she met us, right? Sometimes, or whatever. So oh no, that's great. Well, yeah. So this is even deeper. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your story, right? So maybe, and you talked a little bit about those gentlemen in the department that helped influence you, but right now that's what we're talking about, like with our prospective students, is unlock your story. So
Mhm.
how has maybe CalU shaped, specifically your career, and was there any like maybe like piece of advice or specific skills that you kind of learned, during those years, whether as a student or early on in your career, that kind of stuck with you throughout and kind of led your philosophy?
Yeah, one of the main things was at when I came to Cal, I really didn't know too much what I wanted to do. I knew I loved accounting, but what changed my focus at Cal and which helped me to be a better person in my job was how those men took me in and cared about me. And that gave me the heart to want to care about other students. And um, as I went along, I did a little bit more and a little bit more. If if you had a question I couldn't answer, I wouldn't send you away saying I didn't know. I would find somebody who could help you. And that encompassed my heart, that I wanted to do more for students and not so much my job. I look at it this way. God put me in that job to be a help to students. The job was a means for me to be a help. The skills I honed in on was listening skills, because a lot of kids just need you to listen to them
Sure.
instead of just talking to them. So I honed in my listening skills. I honed in my skills to be able to direct you on the right path. And a lot of kids camped in my office and all they want to do is sit and talk. And what I did was allow them to sit there. And you know what? And I have to back up a little bit, because I had bosses who allowed me to be that type of person for the students. They were good people. If a kid came in with a problem, I'd either take them in the bathroom or they allowed me to go in a conference room. There was a lot of things, I say, unassociated with the job that helped me do my job better. And my love for the students, my love for the athletes, and my love for CalU, period, gave me I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I just loved my job. I
Yeah.
love working with the students. I love working with some of the coaches, and I just love my job. And if you can find people that care about you in a situation like that, they make you love where you want to be. It makes you want to be better. It makes you want everybody around you to be better. And it makes you want everybody to do their best. Because you know me, I will pull it out of you.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that, like, there's this concept of family at CalU, right? And it
Yeah.
pervades all departments and it's found everywhere. And I think, when I think of it, like my example, it's you. I mean, like that, like I can't say, like, I try to model like everything you just said, like I, yes, folks, if you're listening home, that is exactly what she did, because it was like there was like it was a different, I don't know, like, I don't know if you want to call it like a safe space or whatever, but there was just a different vibe. It was a different mood, when you got around you, and whether you had a bad day or needed some, get your head straight or whatever. And I think, and I like, I work in higher ed now, and I feel, and like I pattern how I interact with students based off of that.
Oh,
Like you were the definition of that to me.
oh,
So,
thank you so much.
and I think I speak for a lot of people, because everyone has such high regard for you, and it's I think that is the best example of it. So
Mm.
absolutely, Ms. Tardd, thank you for sharing that. It's very evident to see that how much you use that instrument, to better people that you interacted with, students,
Mm.
athletes, everyone. So we appreciate that for
Mm.
sure.
The one
um,
thing I tell the kids is, be around positive people so you can be positive for other people. Because I truly believe we were put on this earth to be a help to others. And while we're helping others, if we need help, others are helping us. And it's like a circle of love. And what you said about the family atmosphere. The athletic department was family. I spent more time with them than I did with my family. Not only were we colleagues on campus, but we associated with each other off campus. And that's the love. Like we're still family. I still keep in contact with them. I'm never going to not keep in contact with them. But for the most part, with most of the people at Cal that are still there, I still try to keep in contact with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that family concept. I can't stress it enough. And people know, I think, like, if you've been there and people have their Cal U family and like they can relate to that. So I think it's important that we share that. All right. Every good story has a supporting cast. So, we talked about some of your professors, maybe, but were there any specific classes that you took or other staff members or, your Cal U friends or even students maybe that helped you along the way, and be successful through your time as a student and then as a staff member?
When I was a student at Cal, Dr. Joe DeLacy and Dr. Novak, I had for professors. And there were a couple times where, because I was a non-traditional student, there were a couple times where I had to bring my son with me, and he was just a year old, and they didn't have any problem with it. In fact, they would be like the babysitters while I'm doing my classwork and stuff like that. And those are the kind of things that propelled me to go on a little further. And as far as my classes, one of the Dr. Chaudhry, he helped me a lot too. And Dr. Blozo, because he was fresh out of college and basically we're about the same age, he helped me a lot too, especially since when I got to the senior classes and I decided, I don't know if I can do this. He tutored me. He just put it this way, he helped me graduate from college. But going towards staff members, my best friend, we're still best friends now, is Darla Holmes, who worked on campus. She worked in financial aid, I worked in revenue. We both left about the same time to other departments. I went to athletics and she went to foreign language. We both retired on the same day. We both rode to work together and we left together. And, and then I had, then there's, Dr. Bird, there was Dr. Golden, and then there was Jean Grilly. They all mentored me to where I was before I retired, where I still am. Those are the people who truly, truly mentored me. And those were, California has that air about them that people who are up there, because they were all vice presidents and, deans and whatever, but they took the time to mentor me, which at the time I considered myself a lowly person. And that meant a lot to me. And that should mean a lot to anybody that goes to Cal, that there are a lot of caring people who will nurture you through anything, the good and the bad. But you can always be assured that Cal had that family atmosphere, and you could feel it as soon as you got on campus.
Absolutely. I couldn't express it better myself. Well, Ms. Tardd, thanks for sharing all these important things. And I think it's really cool to see, how your philosophy has played out over your career at Cal U. But now we get to talk about some fun stuff. At least I hope they're fun things. This is like the fun part of the podcast. So I have two questions related to this one. When you were at Cal as an employee, what was the coolest part of your job? And now that you're retired, what's the best part of retirement?
Well, the coolest part of my job when I was at Cal was being in the presence of students, because they keep you forever young. And, they kept me up to date on stuff. And then if I would say stuff like, oh, Mr., look at you, stuff like that. But it's the students. The students kept me there. They were my fun part of the job. And it's like, I don't know. And as far as being retired, I get to spend a little bit more time with the grandchildren. I get to go to their games and I get to celebrate things that I never celebrated before. But it took a minute because I was so wrapped up in Cal that it took a long minute for me to get used to being retired, but I'm good now.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Absolutely. All right. So remembering that this is always the PG-13 version of the show.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite memory? I mean, I know you probably have like a billion of them, and I know this is a hard question, but is there one memory maybe that sticks out more than others whenever you think about?
Can I have?
You can have as many as you need.
Okay. The first one is when I worked in the bursar's office. I didn't work in the bursar's office. When I worked in the revenue office, me and Darla, we were the staff advisor for the Young and Gifted Gospel Choir. And the one thing that stuck out to me is we traveled all over southwestern Pennsylvania, and we did a play, and we did a play in Maryland, and we went to all the different churches, and just being in that group of kids. And that group of kids, and the reason they are so special to me is basically that group are all now, at least I say, at least 85 to 90% ministers for God. And that's a very endearing to my heart. Brian Johnson, Andrea Moore, Lillian Cannon, Carol Murphy. And it's just, and I'm going to tell them now, please don't be upset with me. Chalk it to the head, not the heart. I can't remember everybody, but those are the ones that became my children. And after that, when I got to athletics, anybody who was an athlete was my child. And my other memory is Dave Smith. Dave Smith used to announce for the football games and the basketball games. And at the football games, every time he saw me walking, because we had to be there early, he would say, Carolyn, Tardd, call your service. And one time he announced to the whole stadium that it was my 60th birthday. And everybody came up to me and they kept saying, oh, you don't look like you're 60. I said, I'm not. And then my other memory of Dave was at a basketball game. Back in the day, we used to have a basketball tournament the weekend after Thanksgiving. So I came down and I was sitting on the left-hand side across from the scores table, and I had on the white sweatpants, a white sweatshirt, and I had on a white headband. And so he announced that Whitney Houston was sitting up in the stands, and would she come down and sing the national anthem? So I waved my hand, said no, and then I pointed my finger at him. I said, hit you. But those are the two things that I remember, and going to every game. And also your dad calling me the Poochie Police, because I started all the games. So he's like, Dr. Poochie send you? Dr. Poochie send you? I'm like, no, I love sports. I'm a sportsaholic. And yeah, your dad gave me the name Poochie Police.
Poochie Police. I like that. That's good. All right. So we're building the ultimate playlist for Cal U to celebrate with, and we're going to release it this fall. So do you have a song or songs that remind you most of your time at Cal U?
There was a song that they played at every basketball game that I just loved, and it was called California Love.
Oh, Miss Tardd, we're coming through with the Cali Love. That's the #1 requested song we've got on the playlist.
Really?
Yeah, so you're right on it too. And all the athletes that we've talked to, they also like, yeah, that's a thing. So cool. All right, Miss Tardd, we could add that for sure. We'll add you to the other list there too. All right.
There was
absolutely.
We won so many championships, and especially when we were at home, if we won it, they would play "We Are Champions."
All right, I don't think that's on there yet, so we're gonna add that. So
what about Hotel California?
It is on there too.
Okay.
Pretty much, if the song has California in the name, it's on the list. But it's a cool playlist, and it's gonna come out this homecoming in our little homecoming to go boxes. So for virtual homecoming, obviously. Okay, so we're also having the great food debate. What's the best meal that you had at Cal U? Now, it could be on campus or off campus, like in the local community, but what's the best thing you eat in and around there?
Okay, I have to keep saying back in the day. The day where the Dairy Queen is right now, there was a little restaurant called Alfano's. They had the best hoagies and fries in the whole wide world.
Yes, they did. And that's my personal selection for the Cal U food debate is an Alfano sandwich like that. You and me are on the same page. Thank you. That's great.
And and don't get me wrong, a lot of people don't like eating on campus, but I didn't find anything wrong with the food at Gallagher. Of course, I didn't have to eat there every day, but whenever I went, I didn't find anything wrong. The food was always good. The combinations were a little strange, but the food was always good. But and all the new things that are on campus now, the only thing I ate was Chick-fil-A, but that's the modern day. I'm going back in the day. But we used to eat at Gallagher every now and then, but Alfano's, #1.
Oh man, that's great. That just took me way back. I might have to try to make my mockery of it for dinner tonight now. Well, Ms. Tardd, thank you again so much for joining us today. And thank you again, or congratulations again on the John R. Gregg Award. I'm sorry that we can't meet in person right now to present you the award, but once we're able to do that, I'm really looking forward to the ceremony. So,
and I thank you. And you know what? I just want to thank everybody who voted for me, even though I never think I deserved anything because I was just doing my job. I wasn't doing it to get an awards or anything. But the one thing I want to leave everybody with is my heart has always been caring for people. And I believe that God put me at CalU for a reason and a purpose. And I pray that I've touched the hearts of many and that you will remember me when you think of a good time you had at Cal. And God knows how I feel. And I've been totally blessed by the CalU family. You know what? I bleed red and black, and go Vulcans.
all right, Ms. Tardd, that's great. Thank you so much again for joining us. I know the feelings are reflected. I love you so much. Thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations again on the award. So for Ms. Tardd, I'm Ryan Barnhart. This is the Vulcan Nation. It's going to be our #1 rated episode ever. We'll see you next time.